Thank you for joining us today for Advancing as a Discipleship Group in the Energies of Sagittarius.
I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love of the one soul pour forth to all. May the energy of the one soul lift and aid all. May the thoughts which the soul creates reach and encourage all. May the energy of the Divine Self be spread abroad in our hearts, through our groups, and throughout the world.
I would point out that the two greatest revealing agents who have ever came to Earth within the range of modern history made the following simple revelations to humanity. First, the cause of all human suffering is desire and personal selfishness. Give up desire and you will be free. Second, there is a way of liberation and it leads to illumination. Third, it profits a man nothing to gain the whole world and lose his soul. Fourth, every human being is a son of God. Fifth, there is a way of liberation, and it is the way of love and sacrifice.
The potent vibration of desire was evoked by men who were as yet without any spiritual vision of any kind. They were purely material in their instinctive reactions, and rightly so at that particular time. And these reactions attracted the attention of certain purely evil energies or beings. These beings availed themselves of the situation in order to satisfy their desire for power, again a distortion of the will or first aspect. Thus, the Black Lodge was founded. It fed upon human desire and resembled a vast, overshadowing vampire. It vitiated human living and increased the growth of desire far beyond normal expectancy or hierarchical planning, thus creating false goals and standards, building a barrier between the lowest planetary center, humanity, and the middle point or center, the hierarchy.
In the meantime, the human being is first of all driven by desire, then by aspiration towards some vision goal, then by his selfish will, which reveals to him the nature of the will. persistent application to some purpose, seen as desirable, and to which every power is bent. Having exhausted all tangible goals, the inner life forces the man on towards the intangible, and the quality of his will begins to change. He discovers a larger will than his own and begins slowly to identify himself with it, proceeding stage by stage from one realized purpose to another higher one, each step removing him further from his so-called will and bringing him nearer to an appreciation of the significance of the divine will or purpose.
In Sagittarius, we aspire, we are inspired, we vision. Our aim is to embody spiritual discernment, practice positive harmlessness, and eventually achieve a state of divine indifference as we dispel illusion, dissipate glamours, devitalize maya in all our relationships.
From instinct, I desire. To intellect, I aspire. And on to develop the intuition, I vision. We find in Sagittarius that intuition is governing aspiration. The goal is illumination, and soul consciousness in the early stages leads to the first and second initiations.
Sagittarius. The keynotes are 5 in number, signaling to us the importance of the 5th ray and the principle of mind in relation to the path of return. Number 1, attached or fused duality, the centaur. Unattached duality, the archer. Freedom or one-pointedness, the bow and arrow. Number 2, human ambition leading eventually to spiritual aspiration. Number 3, a clear shaft of light, which is the intuitive and focused attitude of the pledged disciple. Number 4, the returning arrow of the intuition, as it is sometimes called, or it is the shaft of the arrow of aspiration, which returns to the center as the arrow of the intuition. Sagittarius is one of the intuitive signs, for only the intuition will suffice to carry a man to the foot of the mountain of initiation in Capricorn. And number 5, idealism, which is the power to see the vision and to direct one's course towards it. This is the work of Mars, the expression of the 6th ray.
As we have progressed and built our understanding along the path of the zodiac on the reversed wheel, from Aries to Pisces through Taurus, we have looked at this path in terms of I desire and instinct. Now in Sagittarius, we look at the quality that is required, ambition, to take the initiate, the aspirant, through the first initiation, a doorway into a higher consciousness. And with aspiration, saying, I aspire, moving towards the second initiation, and with personal will, becoming spiritual will, passing through that doorway of consciousness, and achieving a level of group consciousness. the intuition governing aspiration, with the returning arrow of the intuition. The aspirant becomes the initiate, with the goal illumination. All of this through the work of Mars and the sixth ray.
You have, therefore, certain words which are concerned with the method whereby the vision is accorded and revelation given. 1. Ambition, implemented by determination. 2. Aspiration, implemented by devotion or one-pointed attention. 3. Revelation, implemented by the will in its two lower aspects. 4. Realization, implemented by the will in its highest aspect. That briefly is the evolutionary story of the initiate in good standing, and it is basically the story of the will to self-betterment, the will to human service, goodwill, and finally, the will to good.
The keynote of the archer is aspiration and direction, and both are expressions of human goals. But one is of the personality and the other of the soul. From ambition to aspiration, from selfishness to an intense desire for selflessness, from individual one-pointed self-interest in Leo to the one-pointedness of the disciple in Sagittarius, and thence to initiation in Capricorn. From the great triangle affecting the mental response apparatus of humanity concerning the unfoldment of the mind, Sagittarius brings direction for the expression of the intuition.
In the early days of the probationary path, selfish aspiration is foremost in the consciousness of the aspirant. However, as he treads the path, and likewise the path of discipleship, he leaves all such motives behind, a minor renunciation, and his one aim in seeking liberation and freedom from the three worlds is to aid and help humanity. This dedication to service is the mark of the hierarchy.
Today, aspiration provides a constant source of anxious questioning, of painful deliberations, and of high voltage spiritual ambition, with their consequent limitations and moments of sensed failure and lack of achievement. The Master has left all this behind, knowing that even this so-called spiritual responsiveness is a form of self-centered attitude. Eventually, and disciples should take courage and hope from this statement, all is agonizing reaction to the spiritual urge will be left behind.
The growing aspiration of the masses is also drawing the masters closer to humanity than ever before. This is an instance of the ability of the initiate consciousness to function on initiate levels and also in the three worlds simultaneously. Of this, the dual activity of the mind is a symbol, acting as it does, as a common sense, and so dealing with all matters in the three worlds, and as the spiritual mind at the same time, dealing with all matters connected with the soul, with light and illumination.
Sagittarius is related to the fifth stage of meditation, inspiration and preparation for initiation. The soul inspires the personality life, and the soul expresses itself through the personality.
A personality is an aggregate of forms and of substantial lives which, when fused and blended, present a unified sum total, animated by desire or aspiration, by plan or purpose, and functioning in its place under the inspiration of a self-initiated inner program. Progress, from the larger angle and from the standpoint of those who see life in terms of ever-enlarging wholes, is from group to group.
Inspired, and with the soul now expressing itself through the personality, the man becomes the initiate. And DK says that he would remind us that though initiation is taken in Capricorn, the man is an initiate before he is initiated, and that this is the true secret of initiation.
The dangers of meditation are largely the dangers of our virtues, and therein lies much of the difficulty. They are largely the dangers of a fine mental concept that runs ahead of the capacity of the lower vehicles, especially of the dense physical. Aspiration, concentration, and determination are necessary virtues, but if used without discrimination and without a sense of time in evolution, they may lead to a shattering of the physical vehicle that will delay all progress for some one particular life. Have I made my point clear? I seek but to bring out the absolute necessity for the occult student to have a virile common sense for one of his basic qualities, coupled with a happy sense of proportion that leads to due caution and an approximation of the necessary method to the immediate need. To the man, therefore, who undertakes wholeheartedly the process of occult meditation, I would say with all conciseness,
A. Know thyself. B. Proceed slowly and with caution. C. Study effects. D. Cultivate the realization that eternity is long, and that that which is slowly built up endures forever. E. Aim at regularity. F. Realize always that the true spiritual effects are to be seen in the exoteric life of service. G. Remember likewise that psychic phenomena are no indication of a successful following of meditation. The world will see the effects and be a better judge than the student himself. Above all, the master will know, for the results on causal levels will be apparent to him long before the man himself is conscious of any progress.
Meditations 1 and 2 from Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 2. In using Meditations 1 and 2, we have learned how to lift the solar plexus to the heart in group formation, which, as DK tells us, in group meditation is intended to produce coherent relations and a conscious group interplay.
This dual meditation is a group meditation and will have primarily a group effect. This meditation is one of the most important of the steps I shall ever ask you to take in these early preparatory stages of your work.
To the energies which he has generated within himself, the disciple learns to add that of the group which he has attempted to serve with love and understanding. All disciples of any standing gather around them, the few or the many, that they have found themselves able to aid. The purity of the energy generated by this group depends upon their selflessness, their freedom from authority or the control of the disciple, and the quality of their spiritual aspiration. Our immediate concern is the bringing about a group unity rooted in love, and this requires the awakening of the heart center into greater potency. Only from the heart center can stream, in reality, those lines of energy which link and bind together. Your group meditation or form will stimulate the heart into action, linking the heart center between the shoulder blades to the head center through the medium of the heart center, which is found within the head center, the thousand-petaled lotus. The heart center in the head, when adequately radiatory and magnetic, will relate you afresh to each other and to all the world. This again, when connected by an act of the spiritual will to the solar plexus, will help to reduce that telepathic interplay which is so much to be desired and which is so constructively useful to the spiritual hierarchy, provided it is established within a group of pledged disciples dedicated to the service of humanity. They can then be trusted. The activity of the heart center never demonstrates in connection with individuals. This is a basic fact. What devastates most disciples is the solar plexus ability, when purified and consecrated, to identify itself with individuals. The heart center cannot react except under group impetus, group happiness or unhappiness, and other group relations.
The meditation is divided into two parts. Stage Meditation 1. A stage wherein there is a lifting of the energy of the heart center to the head by means of directed, controlled aspiration, deliberately stimulated, mentally appreciated, and emotionally propelled. Stage Meditation 2. Next, the deliberate dispatch of spiritual energy to the solar plexus through an act of will. This will result in the awakening of the hitherto quiescent point of force, which lies behind, or rather within, the active and awakened center. One, we begin with reflective alignment of soul and personality, using the creative imagination in the process. This is a feeling or astral activity. 2, mentally assume relation of solar plexus, heart, and head, and the focus of the assuming consciousness to be in the region of the ajna center. 3, when achieved and realized, concentrate aspiration and thought in the heart center, imagining it to be just between the shoulder blades. It must be recognized that the concentration of thought energy is definitely there. Four, now with a conscious and pictorial or imaginative withdrawal of the heart's aspiration, life, and devotion into the center above the head, the 1,000-petaled lotus, focus the consciousness there. 5, when the conscious recognition of place and activity is being gently yet surely held, sound the sacred word, Om, very softly, 3 times, breathing out and towards the soul, the hierarchy, and humanity. These 3 recognized factors now constitute a definite and linked triangle of force.
Six, say with heartfelt intent, the sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate, and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all men love.
Locate the 2 points of vital light within the solar plexus center. One of these points of light is connected with the lower psychic and astral life, and the other is brought into livingness by the inflow from the head center, one most ancient and awakened, being expressive of the life of the astral or lower psychic body, and the other waiting to be brought into conscious activity by the soul.
With the focus of the consciousness in the head, summon the will to your aid, and by an act of the will, carry the energy focused in the head to the solar plexus. To facilitate this process, vision pictorially, focusing, I am the soul, and also love I am. Above all else, I am both will and fixed design. Demanding, my will is now to lift the lower self into the light divine. This light I am. Descending, therefore, I must descend to where the lower self awaits my coming. At wanting, that which desires to lift and that which cries aloud for lifting are now at one. Such is my will.
Pause here and endeavor to feel and sense the initiatory vibration or embryonic interplay which is being established between the awakened and the awakening points within the solar plexus. This can be done, but it involves an act of slow concentration. Then, sound the Om twice from the head center, knowing yourself to be the soul, which is breathing it forth. Believe this sound, carried on the breath of will and love, as capable of stimulating the solar plexus in the right way and able to transmute the lower energies so that they will be pure enough to be carried first of all to the awakening point, and from that point, eventually to the heart center. As you vision the energies of the solar plexus being carried up the spine to the heart center, situated, as you know, between the shoulder blades, breathe out the Om again into the solar plexus. But this time, having done so, draw the focused energy up the spine towards the head. The vibration thus established will carry the energy to the heart, for it has to pass through that center in the spine on its way to the head. In the early stages, that is as far as it may go, but later it will pass through the heart, leaving its due quota of energy, and finally reach the head center. Six. Then focus yourself in the heart, believing that a triangle of energy has been formed between the head, the heart, and the solar plexus. Vision it then as composed of the energy of light, something resembling a triangle of neon light. The color of this neon light, so called, will be dependent upon the ray of the soul. 7. Repeat the mantra of unification. The sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love.
Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all men love. Eight. Standing, therefore, in the center of the heart, see the energy of your group brothers as the radiating spokes of a great wheel of light. This wheel has many spokes, and at the center of the wheel, like the hub of the wheel, can be found your master. Then slowly, with love, mention aloud the names of each of your group brothers, not omitting yourself. Then see this wheel as actively moving and scintillating, and thus serving humanity through its focused radiation. This radiation is the radiation of love. We close with the Gayatri, with its emphasis upon one's duty. O thou who givest sustenance to the universe, from whom all things proceed, to whom all things return, unveil to us the face of the true spiritual sun, hidden by a disk of golden light, that we may know the truth and do our whole duty as we journey to thy sacred feet.
Thus, we have the transmitters of the life impulses from the heart of the central spiritual sun, so that we have a direct created chain of transmitting energies from the heart of the central spiritual sun to the sevenfold heart of the physical sun, the Buddhic devas, the central circle of petals, the astral permanent atom, the heart center within the head, the heart center.
The heart center is the organ of fusion. The heart center is the agent of the soul. The heart center is the monastic center.
The activity of the heart center never demonstrates in connection with individuals. This is a basic fact. What devastates most disciples is the solar plexus ability, when purified and consecrated, to identify itself with individuals. The heart center cannot react except under group impetus, group happiness or unhappiness, and other group relations.
Our immediate concern is the bringing about a group unity rooted in love. This requires the awakening of the heart center into great potency. Only from the heart center can stream, in reality, those lines of energy which link and bind together your group meditation. A form will stimulate the heart into action, linking the heart center between the shoulder blades to the head center through the medium of the heart center, which is found within the head center, the thousand-petaled lotus.
Unless the disciple learns that aspiration and self-discipline must proceed side by side, he will find that the spiritual energy he may appreciate and contact will only serve to stimulate the latent seeds of evil in his nature, and thereby demonstrate the exactitude of the truth that the great Lord taught when he pictured the man who swept his house, cast out 7 devils, and eventually was in a worse condition than ever. It is essential that aspirants should understand the nature of the lower man and should grasp the fact that every coherent system has its varying types of energy, and that perfection is achieved when the highest type of energy inherently possible dominates.
Where the ordinary everyday man is concerned, the propelling aspiration, if I may use such an unusual phrase, is of a material nature and concerns his successful progress in the world of everyday physical plane life. It might be wise to consider ambition as the lower expression of aspiration. This ambition covers all the many phases of the path of evolution, from the ambition of the raw savage in primeval times to gain food and shelter for himself and family, to the ambition of the modern businessman to reach the height of financial gain or power. Having achieved that goal, it frequently happens that on the way to the higher octave of ambition, aspiration, there may come a cycle of lives where the ambition is directed to the creative arts. Next comes gradually the transmutation of all these ambitions into a steadily growing and consciously spiritual aspiration. The man treads then the probationary path and eventually the path of discipleship. And as his spiritual ambition grows and is paralleled by an equally steady growth in mental realization, he passes from initiation to initiation until there comes the culminating 5th initiation.
In connection with the vertical and the horizontal life of the fixed cross, it is instructive to note that the vertical life of the man upon that cross, no matter in what sign his sun may temporarily find position, is ever Aquarius Leo.
This tabulation from Master DK is included for your future reference and consideration.
The tabulation suffices amply to demonstrate the connection between them and their progressive effect upon the subject, passing under their influence periodically and cyclically. They are frequently referred to as the signs which, when studied, will reveal divine intent in man, will mark the points of crisis in his progress, and will, when the 3 influences which they express have done their work, carry the man from door to door on the reversed wheel. As a point of balance, Sagittarius is the sign which precedes Capricorn.
The triangle of Aquarius, Sagittarius, and Leo points us to 3 sensitivities that are developed.
Sensitivity to conditioning impacts from the environment, that is, to the impacts of the world of human evolution. The 3 worlds or planes through the medium of the 3 aspects of the response apparatus of the soul. That would be the physical body, the astral body, and the mental body. Sensitivity to the will, wishes, and desires of the personality, the integrated, self-conscious man, the lower self. Sensitivity to the soul as the conditioning factor, instead of sensitivity to the environing world as the conditioning factor.
A few simple suggestions I will give you. These can be useful to all sincere aspirants. In the ordered regulation of the life comes eventual synthesis and the right control of time with all that eventuates therefrom. In the right elimination of that which is secondary, and in a sense of rightly adjusted proportion, comes that accuracy and one-pointedness which is the hallmark of the occultist. In the right aspiration at the appointed time comes the necessary contact and the inspiration for the work that has to be done. In the steady adherence to self-appointed rules comes the gradual refining of the instrument and the perfecting of the vehicles that will be, to the master, the medium of help among many little ones.
In endeavoring to penetrate into understanding the new astrology, we relate the rays and the centers. In Sagittarius, to the goal and the point of focus. Let us ponder on the relationships we are given by Master DK for the 6th ray. Solar plexus, 6th ray, 4th root race. Instinct, the goal, the energy of aspiration, unfoldment of sensitivity, 3 centers functioning, focal point of psychic response, the organ of personality synthesis prior to integration. The solar plexus is the center in the etheric vehicle through which humanity, average unenlightened humanity, lives and moves and has its being. Humanity is conditioned by desire, good desire, selfish desire, wrong desire, and spiritual desire. It is the center through which most of the energies flow which make a man progressive because he is ambitious, selfish, because his personal desires are of importance, and fluidic because astrally polarized.
In using the creative imagination to visualize this rising of the fires overlaid on the simple images of each stage of development, let's look first at the triangle of the undeveloped man, remembering that we are talking about general trends and cannot adequately or correctly apply to individuals until we are much further advanced along the path ourselves. In esoteric astrology, Master DK gives us 3 centers for this dominant triangle for the average or underdeveloped individual. A triangle linking the base center, solar plexus center, and heart center, and the line extending to the heart centers of all those in the family, group, nation, humanity. even though this center is not yet opened in the sense that will occur as the man steps upon the path of purification. In the developing man, note the difference. The triangle dominating links the base, throat, and heart as the man begins the creative process, and the throat center becomes active. Note the heart center remains the connecting, linking center, and the interplay occurs in the astral field with the plane of mind gradually and definitely providing for higher creative expression as the man progresses on the path of purification.
The sixth ray of devotion and idealism is consequently most powerful in this age or cycle, and hence the expression in every land today of its best and its worst features, of which the intense devotion to material things and the intense devotion to spiritual values are dramatic instances.
Master DK gives us a tabulation that relates the centers, the rays, the quality of that center, and the origin of the energy. The head center, for example, the first ray, the quality, divine will, and the origin, the monadic plane. The throat center, the fifth ray, the quality, creativity, and the origin, the mental plane. The base center, the fourth ray, the quality, harmony, and the origin is the physical plane. Note the difference in the way he differentiates the sacral center from the etheric plane and the base of the spine from the physical plane.
In the fourth kingdom, the human, it is the energy of the fourth ray, which, cooperating with the first ray, eventually brings synthesis. There is a close relation between the highest center, the head center, and that at the base of the spine. This fourth type of energy thus expresses itself in cooperation with the first type, because we are still Atlantean in our polarization, and that civilization was the fourth in order. It is very largely the work done in our fifth civilization, our present Aryan race, which will, in cooperation with the fifth principle of the mind, bring a shift into a higher level of consciousness. This will produce a harmonizing of all the centers through an act of the will, intellectually and intelligently applied, with the objective of producing harmony. This point warrants thought. For the majority of human beings, for the huge majority, the influences and impulses which emanate from the astral plane are a predisposing factor in all matters with which the individual concerns himself, apart from those conditions which, being imposed upon him from his environment and the period in which he lives, are, for him, unavoidable. The astral plane is a center of dynamic, emanating force, which is fundamentally conditioning in its effect because of the stage of the individual consciousness at which the majority finds itself. Men are swayed by the impulse of desire of a high or low caliber. This is, of course, a broad generalization, for that basic condition is becoming steadily modified by impulses coming from the mental plane. This necessarily complicates the problem. Influences emanating from the soul are becoming appreciably present and still further complicate the problem of the advanced human being. This problem of complication, if I might so call it, said he, constitutes a hard saying for the student to understand in relation to his own physical condition or to that of anyone whom he may be seeking to help. On the astral plane, there will also be found in every astral body 7 corresponding focal points through which energy can enter, raying forth then into the vital centers in the etheric physical body as 7 differentiated types of force. These types of force produce both bad and good effects according to the quality of the negative dense physical body. These differ according to the type of ray or force, and it may be interesting if I here indicate to you the good and the bad effects and the corresponding diseases in the world.
Let's look very briefly at a few of the rays. The 6th ray, active on the astral plane as astral force, is related to the solar plexus and warmth. The lower or bad effect, emotionalism, and the higher or good effect, aspiration and right direction. This can be assisted with the energies of Venus, the 5th ray, and Saturn, the 3rd ray, balancing the 6th ray of devotion. The quality is warmth. The 2nd ray of love wisdom, expressed as astral force, in its lower or bad aspect, is self-love and personality. In its higher aspect or good effect, soul love and group love. The 5th ray, that flows as astral force, has the quality of red light through the throat center, the lower or bad effect, lower psychism, and the higher aspect, creativity, sensitivity, and inspiration. Master DK tells us to remember in studying this tabulation that it is a generalization and only a partial listing of the types of disease which can be the result of the inflow of energy. It is only intended to be suggestive, as the complexity of the human equipment and the intricacy of the ray energies are such that no hard and fast rules can be laid down. The ray forces manifest differently according to the ray type and the point in evolution. It is therefore no contradiction here to the previous tabulations that he has given us.
Master DK tells us of the importance of developing the use of the creative imagination to stimulate the opening of the Ajna center. It is in connection with this effort that the man discovers the value, uses, and purpose of the creative imagination. This creative imagination is all that remains to him eventually of the active and intensely powerful astral life which he has lived for so many lives. As evolution proceeds, his astral body becomes a mechanism of transformation, desire being transformed into aspiration, and aspiration itself being transformed into a growing and expressive intuitive faculty. The reality of this process is demonstrated in the emergence of that basic quality which has always been inherent in desire itself, the imaginative quality of the soul. Implementing desire and steadily becoming a higher creative faculty as desire shifts into ever higher states and leads to ever higher realizations. This faculty eventually invokes the energies of the mind, and the mind plus the imagination becomes in time a great invocative and creative agent. It is thus that the spiritual triad is brought into rapport with the threefold personality.
The Ajna Center, humanity, the fifth ray, the fifth root race, the synthesis of the personality forces, when highly developed, is a great directing and distributing agent, which represents the intuition, the goal, and is expanded under the influence of Mercury and Uranus. The energy of initiation, the development of inclusiveness. 5 centers rapidly awakening, the focal point of personality of the initiate, the human kingdom, the fourth kingdom in nature. In endeavoring to penetrate into understanding the new astrology as we relate the rays and the centers, in Sagittarius to the goal and the point of focus, let us ponder on group integration and the relationship of that integration to the Ajna Center and the fifth ray.
Five centers are rapidly awakening, and the Ajna Center becomes the focal point of the personality of the initiate. This is the goal of the human kingdom, the fourth kingdom in nature. The awakening of the intuition. The fifth ray, the fifth root race, the synthesis of the personality forces when highly developed, directing and distributing from the intuitional level. Consider the fixed cross, Aquarius and Leo, that axis prominent for all on the fixed cross, and particularly important as we look at the fifth ray, Sagittarius, Leo, and Aquarius, leading to illumination through the tests and trials of Scorpio. Hold an image in your mind. Use symbols as DK tells us to do to develop the intuition and create a deeper understanding of the intersection and the relations of the triangles, the rays, and the centers as we continue to explore this new astrology.
The effort to draw forth the intuition requires directed occult but not aspirational meditation. It requires a trained intelligence so that the line of demarcation between intuitive realization and the forms of the higher psychism may be clearly seen. It requires a constant disciplining of the mind so that it can hold itself steady in the light and the development of a cultured right interpretation, so that the intuitive knowledge achieved may then clothe itself in the right thought forms.
In the rigid disciplining of yourself comes eventually perfection. To the disciple, naught is too small to undertake, for in the rigid adjustment of the details of the lower world life comes, at the end, attainment of the goal. The life of the disciple becomes not easier as the gate is neared, but ever the watch must be more thorough. Ever right action must be taken with no regard to result, and ever each body in all its aggregate of detail must be wrestled with and subjugated. Only in the thorough comprehension of the axiom, "Know thyself," will come that understanding that enables man to wield the law and know the inner working of the system from the center to the periphery. Struggle, strive, discipline, and rejoicingly serve, with no reward, save the misunderstanding and the abuse of those who follow after. This is the role of the disciple.
The initiatory process between the first and the second initiations is for many the worst time of distress, difficulty, realization of problems, and the constant effort to clear himself, as it's occultly called, to which the disciple is at any time subjected. The phrase stating that the objective of the initiate is to clear himself is perhaps the most arresting and illuminating of all possible definitions of the task to be undertaken. The storm aroused by his emotional nature, the dark clouds and mists in which he constantly walks, and which he has created throughout the entire cycle of incarnated living, have all to be cleared away in order that the initiate can say that for him the astral plane no longer exists, and that all that remains of that ancient and potent aspect of his being is aspiration, a sensitive response to all forms of divine life, and a form through which the lowest aspect of divine love, goodwill, can flow without impediment.
The Master's interest falls into 4 parts. Let us consider 2 of these now, and the ensuing 2 in Capricorn. The first part, the aspirational intent of the man upon the physical plane suddenly succeeds in enabling him to make a soul contact. The moment that that takes place, the light in the head is momentarily intensified. From the old commentary, the point of light shines forth, it waxes and it wanes. The point becomes a line through the starting of a vortex, and from the center of the whirling force there comes a voice, invocative and clear. Second part. The karmic agitation of the man's life becomes greatly increased, and apart from his own individual karma, he for the first time consciously takes part in and shoulders a part of the karma of his group. This dual karmic undertaking sets up a veritable vortex of force in the group aura. This attracts hierarchical attention. From the old commentary, the one who sits in silent work, alone and unafraid, because the part is not alone and the group is unafraid, looks down, catches the light, reflects the whirling force, and hears the voice.
This karmic agitation and changing experience, as each cross is mounted and experienced, is expressed for us most beautifully in the 6th section of the Old Commentary. The Cross of Many Changes, the Mutable Cross from Alice Ann Bailey, continues with its whirling, carrying, crucified thereon, the form of a man in whom is found the seat of all illusion. We have crisis, polarization, and sweep.
On the wheel, turning clockwise, from Aries to Pisces via Taurus, the disciple and the initiate, on the Sagittarius-Gemini axis, can achieve the fusion of the opposites, the intelligent work of at-one-ment and synthesis. The result of this related pairs of opposites is that there is one pointed soul effort, spiritually directed activity, and a demonstrated readiness for initiation. There is the waning of the power of form and the waxing of the life of the soul.
You will all awaken someday to the realization that the science of service is of greater importance than the science of meditation, because it is the effort and strenuous activity of the serving disciple which evokes the soul powers, makes meditation an essential requirement, and is the mode ahead of all others which invokes the spiritual triad, brings about the intensification of the spiritual life, forces the building of the Antakarana, and leads in a graded series of renunciations to the great renunciation, which sets the disciple free for all eternity. That is one of the reasons why, when in training, disciples are absorbed into a master's group, which is integrally a collection of individuals who are imbued with the group idea and are learning increasingly to react to it.
Group intuition dispels world illusion. Today, the world is full of illusions, many of them veiled under the form of idealisms, emotional idealisms generated from the first, highest subplane of the astral plane. It is full of wishful thinking and planning. And even though much of this is rightly oriented and expresses the fixed determination of the intelligentsia to create better living conditions for the entire population of the world, the question arises, is there in the sum total of this wishful thinking enough of the essential dynamic livingness which will carry it down into physical demonstration and factual expression, and thus truly meet human need?
In this second decade of Sagittarius, we can sense and know the fires of Sagittarius and of Aries, the mutable cross and the cardinal cross, influencing us to carry the arrow of our group service on toward the goal. As disciples, we can tune into the influences of the first ray and the seventh ray of Aries, bringing about initiation and focused intention, and guided by Mars, Mercury, and Uranus. The fourth ray and sixth ray in Sagittarius, bringing about intuitive impressions and idealism through Mercury,
Mars, and the moon veiling Neptune, guided by the fifth ray of mind. Through Venus, the higher mind of the earth. To vision right action in expressing concrete goals, to be achieved, one, and then the next, and on toward Capricorn and the mountaintop of initiation. Let us be inspired, and may we do our part.
From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And so let it be, and help us to do our part.